Matthew Vaughn, who also did Kick-Ass.
Mm-hmm.
So
Stardust.
And Stardust. So he has some directing chops, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I've liked many of his movies. This one is kind of going to the beginning of the X-Men when there's a flashback in one of the other ones. Magneto, when he was first as a kid bending some Nazi gate. So that's kind of where it picks up. It starts off with Magneto as a kid going through the Nazi camps. Mm-hmm. Then James McAvoy, who is Professor X, starting out as Xavier, learning about genetics, becoming really smart.
Yeah.
And the worst part of the movie is meeting meeting Raven, who's Mystique.
Yeah.
Absolutely awful plot moment. That was just, we have to have them meet somehow. Well, let's just do this. And it is terrible. You see it, you groan, you get over it. But the main plot is after the kids have grown up, they're teenagers, they're starting to get found out by the CIA because Kevin Bacon, who is the lead villain in this,
Sebastian Shaw,
is trying to start World War III between the Russians and the Americans, using which is in the news known as the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
So all this is going on with historical reference, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I liked that. And it's just, two teams of X-Men building up to fight one side over the other, and a bunch of stuff in the middle. I thought this movie was really well thought out for a superhero movie, which is really nice because it's been a while. I think most of these movies now is just like, oh, there's a superhero, let's make a movie. And they don't really think about the movie. They don't really worry about writing the script. They're just like, some action stuff, things will happen. And this movie, I think they actually thought out. They actually planned the plot, and it came out really well. So I enjoyed it. The characters were all good, and there were some good themes that I'm sure are all from the original X-Men comics, like the prejudices and stuff, and teenage self-esteem, which was a little lame. Still really great movie. Mystique was probably the worst part of the movie, which is kind of surprising because she was from Winter's Bone.
Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence, and just the absolute terrible. I mean, she just was like, I'm in this movie. It's a blockbuster. I don't need to try. Plus, I mean, the other people were at least attempting. Kevin Bacon is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ever not love Kevin Bacon in a movie, I think. That's really funny is he starts out as a Nazi, and you're just like, is that him? I don't think that's him. And then later you're like, crap, that was him. Really interesting. But actually, the worst part about this movie being Mystique is that now she's the star of the next Hunger Games movie, which I was really excited about till I found out that.
Yeah.
But I gave the movie an A. I mean, I sat through it. I enjoyed it. I came away from it just saying, that was an excellent movie. Great superhero movie. So, job well done.
All right. You know how you said the worst part of the movie being Mystique, and you said that first scene where they introduce it and you groan and you move on? Well, for me, there were quite a bit of those kind of moments. Now, I know that I'm alone in this opinion. It says like an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. Everyone ever is saying how great of a movie it is, and I really wanted to like it a lot. And I did like a lot of parts of it, but I felt like the movie as a whole had some issues, some of which are fanboy issues, so I won't go into those too much. But I thought that the movie was a little slow to start and sort of meandered about before it finally got its footing. I thought at the point in which they set up the mansion and start training and stuff like that, the movie really finally took off. I think the adult cast, Michael Fassbender as Magneto, James McAvoy, Kevin Bacon, all really good. Some of the teen cast, not as good. Specifically, Jennifer Lawrence, I agree. I think her character altogether could have been cut out of the movie. She's really just there for kind of teen angst appeal. And I don't think that the character is really that interesting to really warrant that big of a part in this movie. And I feel like had they cut her out of the movie completely, some of the other stuff could have been developed better, especially some of those other teen characters who don't really get a lot of play. some of the special effects were a little under-rendered, it seemed. Like, especially during the climax, there were some moments where I could see, sort of the CG-ness of things. But generally speaking, all of the action sequences, I think Vaughn really knows how to direct action sequences, and he really knows how to build tension up to those. And I was pretty pleased with the movie by the end of it, but I did have a lot of bumps along the way where there was a few cliche lines, specifically the last line of the movie. It's one of those moments that's in every comic book movie ever. Well, it's getting away from it, but for a while it was in every comic book movie ever, and I always hate it whenever a character has to, whenever you ever have to write in how a character figures out his alias name, it's always going to come off as cheesy and bad and never works, and I just don't know why comic book movies always try and do this with the, so-and-so is dead, now there is only so-and-so. I hate that moment. As a fan of comic books, and I've been reading them for a while, I've never read one where anybody ever does that. It's only in comic book movies. I feel like I need to see this movie again, almost, because there are a lot of things going on, and there are a lot of themes that I think I might have not been catching because there are some things with the tone of the movie is a little cheesy in places where I wasn't getting into it as much as I wanted to. But I think it is definitely a step up from X3 and the abortion of a movie, the Wolverine movie. This is, I think, just maybe a step below the Bryan Singer movies, the 1 and 2. But I do think it is a worthy effort, if not just a little troubled. So, I don't know. I do want to see it again, though. I think I might be more objective on a second viewing.
All right. So what did you even give it?
I gave it a B minus.
B minus.
So far.
All right.
So far. So that's our show, and you should check us out on YouTube, our review archives at youtube.com/videoclerks.